Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. Thank
That's
you
good
very much.
to know. That's good to know. Hmm.
How are you?
I'm good. And just to be sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly, how would I say your first name?
Hi.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Wanted to make sure. Hmm. Now, you had
Yeah.
some questions you wanted to ask me about, triggered by that video, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. But first, I wanted to thank you about your contribution to
Oh,
my learning and for this opportunity.
mhm. It's a,
Uh,
it's a pleasure.
yeah, thank you very much. And on your permission, I see that you already recorded that, right?
Mhm.
So I want a copy of it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I just
All
make
right.
a habit of that. I always record everything that happens just as a habit. Mm.
Yeah, because this is very unique opportunity for me to
Oh,
have this
okay.
conversation with you. And on your permission, I would like to publish it in my community of Milton Erickson.
Oh, sure. Whatever. Yeah.
Thank
Mm.
you. Thank you very much. So basically, after I was seeing the video of the pain management,
Oh, that one. Yeah.
yeah. By the way, I learned this topic with Stephen Brooks, and he said pain control. So first of all, I want to ask, what is the difference, if you think that there is a difference between them?
Well, hi. I've got a lot of prejudices about some kind of language.
Hmm.
I don't like control. I don't like inductions. I don't
Mhm.
like suggestions. So I'm very picky about words. I think they bring baggage and and the idea of control is something that involves some kind of imposition of something.
Hmm.
It's not pain control is fine, but if someone's got pain and we can help them to be less attentive to it or not notice it or not suffer so much from it, then they're going to
Mhm.
feel better. Whether they feel more in control or whether they're just managing it or what, I don't know.
Yeah,
So it
it's
comes
a
down
tricky
to
one.
it's just personal preference. That's all it is.
Mhm. All right, so thank you for that. Maybe I will just read from my note some comments or questions about it.
Cool.
Um, I noticed that pain is actually a message from ourselves that usually we don't know how to interpret it. And maybe by that, we're creating suffer for ourselves.
Could be, could be. It's different for different people, Hi.
Mhm.
Some people, when they've got pain, it's the sensations that drive them crazy.
Mhm.
So the sensations are so strong, so unpleasant, so horrible that they become fixated on them. And other people, it's not so much the sensations, but they get really unhelpfully responsive to the pain. You know, they resist it, they ignore it, they want to get rid of it, they resist it, they try and change it, and that's when we start to suffer. So I think that when we listen to someone and explore with each individual just in what is their experience that they're calling pain, what's happening for them, and in particular, if we then start to ask what would be helpful for you, and some people will say, it'd be helpful if the sensations weren't so strong. And other people will say the sensations, what would help for me is that if I was less worried about it, less troubled by it, less suffering in relation to it.
Mhm.
A friend of mine said that he was talking to one of his clients about the difference between pain, sensations, and suffering, and she didn't get it. She went
Mhm.
home and her dog had a broken leg, and was sleeping underneath a tree. She went up to the dog to pat it, and the dog bit her because she caused pain for the dog. And when the dog bit her, she realized that the dog had the pain, but she had the suffering. So we suffer in response to something, as a reaction to something.
Mhm.
Not only with pain, but with a lot of things. That's how we suffer. And the resolution of all suffering is to accept something. Doesn't mean tolerate it, but just, oh, okay, this is what's happening at the moment.
Mhm.
And be
So don't you think that this acceptance will make us a whole person to suffer?
No, it'll stop. I think acceptance is the cure for suffering.
Mhm. Right.
We suffer by resisting something, by not accepting it, wishing it were not there, trying to get rid of it, getting fixated on it. And we can say metaphorically that when something is happening like that, we get hypnotized by the pain and we go into a pain trance.
Mhm.
Not true, but it's a metaphoric way of giving us some
Mhm.
kind of insight into it.
Well, obviously that you're a direct student of Dr. Milton Erickson, and it's very a big topic, pain. And I know that Milton will suffer a lot from pain.
Oh, yes.
Did you saw it back then? So did you, I don't know, maybe speak about it or say something about it, or did you saw him suffer in any way?
Well, the thing about Erickson was, as Jay Haley said, he was impossible to interview, because when you asked him a question, he would give you an answer that he thought would be helpful to you.
Yes.
So I didn't ask him specifically about pain, but the very first day that I met him, he asked me what I wanted to learn with him. And I said I didn't understand, didn't make sense what I'd learned about using hypnosis for pain in my training in Melbourne. It didn't make sense to me. He just nodded his head and then invited me to go into hypnosis, sitting on this uncomfortable three-legged stool with my elbows digging into my knees and my head getting heavier and heavier as I went into hypnosis, feeling that at any moment it could pull me onto the floor because I felt unstable. And after 2.5, 3 hours in that position, I'd learned a lot about pain management.
Wow.
I couldn't exactly say what I learned, but I learned something through experience. And I said to him, I think I understand what you've been talking about, but could you explain it a little bit clearer? I'd had the 3-hour version, then he gave me the 10-second version. He said, what we experience depends on how we direct our attention. So that was a very nice insight for me. And I discovered by direct experience that I could manage some painful situations very easily, very naturally, very effortlessly. But with his own pain, he said that sometimes if the pain was really severe and he couldn't manage it, couldn't use hypnosis to help, he would go down into the kitchen and sit backwards on a chair and push the back of the chair into his throat. And by leaning on the chair, he increased the pain that he was causing. And then when he eased back from that, that helped the pain that he was causing. And somehow that was helpful for...
Yeah, because maybe it was on his control. Yeah.
I'm not good at explanations, Hai, but that's what he said he found helpful.
So that leads me to another comment. We truly don't know what we are capable of.
Yep.
What can we achieve about experiences in hypnosis and in general life?
Yeah.
It's very large and comprehensive thing that we usually don't pick up to it every day. So
Yeah.
maybe by focusing our attention inward, maybe it will connect us with some resources.
Yes, and I think it's not only connecting internally within ourselves, but it's the mood with which we connect. If we look for difficulties and incompetencies and failures and faults, if we look within ourselves, we'll find all those. So if we can help ourselves or our clients to look within ourselves, look within themselves with a mood of curiosity, of not knowing, of wondering just what might be possible. In that mood, that's when we can find some resources that otherwise would be elusive. But what we are capable of, Erickson was talking to Jay Haley and was telling him about a man in his early 20s who was very short, and it was an embarrassment to him. And Erickson used hypnosis to help him to grow. He grew an inch or several inches, I can't remember how much. Now, that is not possible, but he did that. And he'd never claimed that anyone who wants to grow an inch or two, they just have some hypnosis and they'll be, but with this particular man, he grew. And Jay Haley said to him, why didn't you publish it? Why didn't you write it up? And Erickson said, no reputable editor would print such a case. And Haley said, well, but you were an editor of a prestigious magazine at that stage. And Erickson said, I wanted to keep my job. So he never published it. Never published it. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a miracle, you know.
It is. And a miracle is just something that happens that's beyond our explanations. That's what a miracle is. It's something that happens and we can't explain it. And some miracles are inexplicable until we find an explanation. So, but some miracles remain miracles. And personally, I prefer to leave them as miracles and instead of trying to explain them. I don't trust explanations. I think they're mischievous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I know that Milton never claimed that he was a miracle catalyst.
A miracle what?
A miracle catalyst or changer. I know that it does said that we have things in ourselves that we never use.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why
So he emphasized the ordinariness of discovering resources that we didn't know that we had. He was not strong on talking about miracles and wonderful, inexplainable spiritual things. He didn't talk about that. He was a farmer. You know, he grew up on a farm. And if he hadn't developed polio when he was 18, he would have been a farmer, like his eldest son. So, but he'd been in the mood of farming for 18 years. So he knew the practicalities of seasons and failures and growth and, you know, and so on.
You know, it seems very, that Milton Erickson was a very natural man.
Yes.
But the thing that he achieved,
yes,
or maybe the impression was super mental things.
Yes, exactly.
So that's
I think people miss that. You know, he said, all I've ever done is practice simple, common sense psychology. That's what he said.
Beautiful.
People made a lot of emphasis on some of the unusual things that he was able to achieve. But the achievements that he had, which were incredible, were fundamentally him holding the possibility that something can happen. And if he could hold the possibility of something can happen longer than the possibility, the client keeping, there's no possibility, as long as he could hold it longer than them, we get a good result. So he could outlast someone. He could
Beautiful.
How's your book going? Have you anywhere?
Thank God I was just finished with the editor.
Ah, okay.
The first level, it was very hard because everything in English is very accurate and precise. And to translate it into Hebrew was very hard for me because a lot of terms didn't exist in Hebrew. So
Yeah,
I had to invent them.
Yes.
That was very difficult for me, and after that the editor was trying to change that also, and that meant a lot of
boy.
Yeah,
the joys of writing, hey? But no matter what you write, some people will misinterpret it. That's
I know.
bound to happen.
I don't have any control about the mental. Yeah.
No, you don't. Yeah. So what other questions have you got for me that
Yes. I wanted to ask, what did you meant by saying we're never dealing with pain?
Yeah.
I didn't understand for the video. We never deal with it, with the pain. So it's what do you mean about it? That we are using or trying to alter the perception of it, the sensations, the things around it?
Yes, I was wanting to emphasize that because every person is an individual, they will have their unique individual experience that they can call pain. And what one person will call pain, another person will call annoying sensation, not pain. And the people have trouble with pain according to who they are. So that there's not one approach of helping people with pain that's going to help every individual person.
Yes.
So by saying we're never dealing with pain, we're always having a conversation with a person, helping them to connect with some resource that will be useful to them. In claiming that, I'm not saying that that's true. What I'm saying that for is an invitation to shift our focus from a technique to do something to the pain to the actual relationship and experience of being with an individual person who's suffering, to see what we can do to help them. If we're going to do pain management or pain control, we've already got a ready-made process, and we're going to put someone on that production line. And if they don't respond, then they're resistant, or they're not ready, or they're getting secondary gain. And I like to say that there are no resistant clients, just resistant therapists. If something's not working, then we need to up our game rather than try and force the client into doing something better.
Yes, definitely. And I know from Milton Erickson that his work with resistance clients was a very huge thing. And because because pain is, there is a lot kinds of pain.
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
And nobody wants pain, we don't want it. But if we didn't have pain, we probably wouldn't have made it to adulthood. Pain has its uses.
That's why I said before, maybe because we don't want the pain, we suffer.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So basically our perception governs our sensation, or do you think it's something else?
Can you ask that again?
Yes. Our perception governs our sensations, or
Oh,
maybe there is another component.
well, if you think of when you've had pain,
Mm.
when I think of when I've had pain, it's a very complex, textured experience.
Yes.
Our sensations that we don't want, that annoy us, that stop us doing things. And there's the way that we respond to that we start to suffer from. I remember, as an example, this is not pain, but it might help with the point. One night, late in the evening, the people in the house next door were having a party.
Mm.
And there was loud music. And that loud music was irritating me because I wanted to go to sleep.
Mm.
I had to work the next day. And I started to have evil thoughts about these people throwing bricks through the window and so on but I was having a very bad time. And then suddenly I realized, hang on, I'm having a bad time. They're having a party. And I realized that my suffering had no influence on their noise and their partiness. So I went to sleep. So I was suffering, if I can extend the metaphor, the pain of their noise. I was suffering. It had nothing to do with the noise. It was just my reaction to it. Same with pain.
All right, because I know, I read about Milton Erickson, who speak a lot about pain, and he just cut it to 3 parts: the pain from the past,
Oh yeah,
our experience in the past, the present pain, and
yeah,
the expectance to feel pain
yeah,
the next day.
yeah.
Yes.
When I was in general practice, I delivered a lot of babies. And I got interested in hypnosis and introduced these pregnant women to the experience of hypnosis. And one of the experiences that they found really helpful was exactly what you're saying. When someone's in labor, they remember the last contraction. They're having this present contraction that they don't want. And then they think, oh, there's going to be another one soon. So if we can invite someone to forget the pain that's happened and not worry about the pain that's yet to come, and in the contraction that they're having now, to realize that the stronger the contractions and the longer it lasts, the sooner they'll hold their baby. So that shifted the whole meaning of the contractions as an experience that's going to let them hold their baby. So by lessening the past experience of pain, by lessening the concern about the future pain, and altering the perception of the present contraction, that was very helpful. The last 10 deliveries were hypnotic deliveries. 9 of them were first babies. They had no injections, no gas. And the main problem was that the staff were perturbed because they weren't complaining. They were just getting on with their labor. It was wonderful, wonderful.
And the way you frame it, it sounds like a clinical suggestion that is very helpful for her.
Well, You know, I mentioned before that I'm got these weird prejudices about some words, and I don't think that what I offered them was suggestions. All I did was invite them to look at some possibilities.
Mhm.
Now, I'm just being picky, but you could call that a suggestion. I've got a prejudice against it. I don't like suggestions.
All right.
Suggestions for me sound like I'm an expert and I'm going to give you some advice. But if I invite someone to look at a possibility, then that's just an invitation between two equals for someone to explore, wonder about, accept or not. But call it suggestions if you like. I just don't like it.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And another thing that just came up with this video is that we tend to underestimate our resilience as a resource that helps us to deal with our condition of pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we got pain, and when I had clients, for instance, that they don't realize how much resilience they had until now, till they decided to resolve it.
Yep. When I go to the dentist, I don't like having injections because I don't like that numb feeling. And some years ago, I was having a filling replaced, nothing very much. But what they did was they get the very fast drill to drill out most of the old filling. And then they get the slow drill called Mr. Grumpy to finish the cleaning out.
Yeah.
And when they were using that slow drill, it felt like someone was tickling my stomach. It was a tickly feeling. It was all I could do to stop giggling. Anyhow, one of the nurses was there helping the dentist. And when it was finished, she said, I was amazed at the fact that you didn't seem to worry about the pain. What were you thinking about? And I looked at her in the eye and said, I'm not going to tell you what I was thinking about. She blushed that she didn't ask any more questions. But it wasn't even true. It's just that the sensations weren't bothering me. I noticed with the fast drill that when the drill was happening, there was a sensation of intense heat, like white hot, for about a second, and then nothing.
Wow.
My friend used to go to the same dentist, and they had a pretty picture on the wall of a beach. And my friend Peter used to, when he was at the dentist, he would look at that picture and take his dog for a walk along that beach. He didn't feel any sensations at all. It didn't work for me like that. I like to feel the sensations and know that they're there and then they're gone. Well, we've got our different ways of coping with these things, of managing them and dealing with them.
Yes. Wow. Sounds very beautiful, because I know that dentists are learning hypnosis.
Yeah.
And also, when I was at the dentist, I pretty much do the same. You use any techniques of self-hypnosis for yourself to maybe reduce some pain, or maybe distract your attention.
Yeah.
Maybe distraction is another way.
Yep.
Distraction, and maybe partitioning the way we are feeling the pain each and every step.
Yeah, so we're all going to do that differently. And rather than saying, this is how you manage pain, well, this is how you control pain, to have the possibility that pain can be influenced, and then explore what can you do? What's going to be helpful in this situation to help that?
Yes.
That's where the creativity, that's where the art happens, that's where the magic happens, that's where the miracles happen, that's where the good things happen.
Yes. And so by by changing the location of the pain,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
actually changing the client perception about it, maybe
Yeah.
reframing it.
Yeah. All of
It's
those
very
things.
helpful. Yes.
And it's going to be different for different people. Some people can shift the pain. Talking about dentists, there was a man who was to have some dental work done, and because he was allergic to the local anesthetic,
Hmm.
and people tried to help him to numb his mouth, and it didn't work. Erickson said, "This is going to be very painful for you, but you're going to feel all the pain. Instead of feeling it in your mouth, you're going to feel it in your left hand. So you need to be very careful of your left hand. Don't let anything touch it. Make sure that there's no strong wind." So this man started to get really, really focused on protecting his left hand, that they were able to do the drilling, and he was fine.
So maybe that's leads me to the last comment, that controlling the client's attention is very important.
I would say giving the client control over their experience is very important.
Yes.
All we can do is invite people. We can create the possibilities. We can have a mood of expectancy that something useful can happen.
Mhm.
All we can do is create the context. The client does the work, not us.
Yes,
They're the
definitely.
expert, not us. Yeah.
Yeah. I pick up the wrong words to
No,
describe it, but
it's not a wrong word. It's just that sometimes words not only reveal something, but they obscure something too.
yes.
So I thought for me, words are important.
Yeah. You're right. All right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
Oh,
And again, I want to thank you and acknowledge you and the time and the effort that you put on my learnings and everything that around Erickson. There are a lot of students, but
oh yes.
there are a few of them that they're more shining than others.
Yeah. My favorite joke about this, Hai, I don't know whether you've heard this from me, but the question is, how many Ericksonian therapists does it take to change a light globe? The answer is it takes 19.
All right.
1 to change the light globe, and 18 to say how they think Erickson would have done it differently.
Definitely. Everyone is trying to understand the things,
Good luck.
maybe desperately. Yeah.
Good luck. Mm. Mm. So thank you for taking the time and your interest to ask me to be part of this. It's a pleasure, to contribute. A pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best, and let's be catch up.
Okay. Thanks, Hai. Anytime in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rob.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.